Let's just dive right into today's explainer because we are looking at something incredibly special. We're setting aside all the daily noise to look at a profoundly human story. It's not some flawless fairy tale fantasy romance. It's messy, it's deeply emotional, and it's beautifully cinematic. We're breaking down the timeless masterpiece, The Bridges of Madison County. We're going to explore a story of sacrifice, deep loneliness, and the really quiet complexities of adult love. Now just think about this for a second. What if the love of your life arrived too late? What if just 4 days could literally change your entire soul, but the timing was just entirely tragically wrong? This impossible, absolutely heart-wrenching scenario is the core of the source material we're looking at today. It forces us right into the shoes of two incredibly lonely souls who finally find each other, only to realize that life just won't allow them to actually be together. A secret after death. Okay, so to really understand how this whole narrative unfolds, we actually have to start at the very end. We're following the funeral of Francesca Johnson. She was known to everyone as just a quiet, ordinary housewife from Iowa. But her passing reveals she was holding on to something massive. Her 2 adult children are suddenly hit with this shocking request. Their mother absolutely does not want to be buried beside her husband, Richard. No traditional family plot for her. Instead, she explicitly asks that her ashes be scattered at the Rosamond Bridge in Madison County. And right alongside this bizarre request, her kids stumble upon these hidden diaries. Diaries detailing a massive secret love story that she had literally never breathed a single word about to anyone. So let's take a look at the timeline here to see how these newly discovered diaries basically act as a time machine. They yank us and her kids from the present day straight back to a life-altering summer in 1965. You see, Francesca originally left Italy after World War II. She married an American soldier, settled in Iowa, and built a life. But as her children read these pages decades later, we get transported directly into those critical, fleeting 4 days in the mid-1960s. The lonely life. Up until that fateful week in 1965, Francesca lived as a devoted Italian immigrant housewife on this remote farm in Iowa. And from the outside looking in, totally fine, perfectly ordinary life. But on the inside, her days were repetitive, predictable, and silent. That word silent really hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures how emotionally trapped she felt. She had essentially sacrificed all her own personal dreams on the altar of responsibility. Her husband was a decent guy, sure, but their marriage completely lacked any real, deep emotional intimacy. Francesca felt invisible. It was like her real self had just slowly, quietly faded away into the background over the years. It's a silent sacrifice that honestly happens way too often in the quiet corners of domestic life. 4 days of love. Then, the catalyst. Out of nowhere, on a sweltering summer afternoon, Robert Kincaid pulls into her driveway. He's a traveling photographer for National Geographic, and he's just looking for directions to the area's famous covered bridges. The contrast between these two worlds is just night and day. On one side, you have Francesca's quiet, duty-bound, predictable reality, where she feels totally unseen. On the other side, you have Robert. He's a traveler. He's deeply observant, thoughtful, and has this real sense of mystery about him. Unlike everyone Francesca interacts with on a daily basis, Robert actually notices things. He sees the beauty in small, silent moments and really tunes into human emotion. So from the exact second they meet, there's this subtle but undeniable spark. Now, here is what makes the story so unbelievably profound. This massive spiritual connection, this total emotional awakening, it all happens in just 4 incredibly brief days while her family happens to be out of town. 4 days. That's it. Robert awakens a part of Francesca that she thought had literally died years ago. And for Robert, a guy who spent his entire life just wandering the globe totally alone, Francesca suddenly becomes the emotional home he never even knew he was searching for. So how does a connection like that happen so fast? Well, their bond grows effortlessly, but it's entirely through quiet intimacy. We're not talking about dramatic Hollywood tropes or grand, over-the-top gestures here. It's built on shared meals, long, winding conversations about life, music, regrets. It's built on simple, quiet moments of deep understanding. For the first time in years, maybe ever, Francesca feels truly, authentically seen. The impossible choice. Of course, reality inevitably crashes back in. The painful truth becomes completely unavoidable when Robert actually asks Francesca to leave her life behind and travel the world with him. He's offering her the ultimate escape from her loneliness, a real chance to finally live for herself. And man, does this create a devastating dilemma. She has to make a choice. On one hand, her duty, her husband, her kids, her entire established reality. On the other, freedom, passion, and a love she thought didn't even exist anymore. She desperately wants both, but life is forcing her to choose. Which leads us to one of the most agonizing, iconic scenes in the entire story. Picture this. Francesca is sitting inside her husband's truck. There is a massive, heavy rainstorm pouring down. Right across the street, Robert is waiting for her in his own vehicle. He's giving her one final chance, one last decision. Literally, all she has to do is reach for the handle, open the door of the truck, run to him, and she's free. But she can't move. She just sits there in unbearable pain, and she silently lets him drive away. Why? Well, because sometimes love is not always enough to change reality. She doesn't stay because she doesn't love Robert. She absolutely does. She stays because she loves too many people at once to abandon them. The cost of her freedom would mean the total destruction of her family's world. And she represents so many people out there who just carry entire worlds on their shoulders. People who quietly bury their own desires so the people they care about don't have to suffer. She just refuses to inflict that pain on her family, choosing instead to absorb the whole blow herself. The true cost. So Robert leaves, and Francesca physically returns to her normal routine. She goes right back to being a wife and a mother. But emotionally, nothing is ever the same. A huge part of her heart remains forever frozen in those 4 days back in 1965. Years and years go by. Robert eventually passes away, alone. But before he dies, he leaves strict instructions for his ashes to be scattered at the Bridges of Madison County, the exact spot where their love began. And this, right here, reveals exactly why Francesca requested that same resting place at the very beginning of our story. Even though they spent the rest of their natural lives entirely apart, their love never faded. They're finally reunited at the Bridges, but only after death. Now, snapping back to the present day, her children are processing these diaries, and they go through this profound evolution. At first, total shock and anger, honestly, at the secret. But slowly the anger fades, and they begin to see their mother not just as mom, but as a complex, fully fleshed out human being who carried hidden desires and deep, deep emotional pain. And ultimately, reading about her sacrifice forces them to look inward. They start reevaluating their own lives, their own marriages, and their own choices, all weighed against the incredible heaviness of what their mother gave up. When you step back and look at the whole narrative, the core themes just jump right out at you. This isn't just some breezy romance. It's a highly realistic, gritty exploration of profound loneliness, the real complexities of marriage, and that crushing weight of duty versus passion, plus the lasting power of memory. It proves that sometimes love changes us permanently, even if it only lasts a few days. And yeah, even if it doesn't end with a neat little bow where people stay together happily ever after. So I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Did Francesca actually make the right decision? Should she have prioritized her own personal freedom and run off with Robert? Or was she right to bear that quiet sadness hidden inside her ordinary life, just out of sheer responsibility to her family? It's an impossible choice, really. And honestly, how you answer that probably says a lot about how you balance duty and passion in your own life. Take some time to reflect on that. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning and keep asking those hard questions.